fabulous. If the people in the street want to raise their hand, you can acknowledge them. I'd also like to thank our table sponsors, Susan Littlestone and Nancy Caraballo. Thank you so much. We offer these lunches as a way to introduce people to UNICEF and to highlight speakers with really important stories to tell. And this work either complements or supports the work of UNICEF. Most people just have a sort of cursory understanding of UNICEF. They associate us with those little orange boxes at trick-or-treat time, but they really don't have an awareness of the huge breadth and depth of everything that UNICEF does. And UNICEF's work in over 190 countries, providing children with health care, clean water, nutrition, education, emergency relief, and much, much more. And speakers give us an opportunity to shine a light on all the ways that UNICEF makes a difference protecting and caring for the children in the world. This year, we've had 3 amazing speakers, starting off with Carol Stern, UNICEF CEO, President CEO, who introduced us to her new book, I Believe in Zero. And her book was a wonderful introduction to the many ways that UNICEF prevents children from dying each day. And in fact, the title of the book it really suggests the work of UNICEF that's informed by its belief in zero, and the belief that one day 0 children will be denied access to a healthy and safe childhood, or denied, and hoping one day that we'll reach a day when 0 children will die of preventable causes. And we feel really strongly with your help, we'll be able to reach that day of 0. The second speaker this year was Mariatu Kamara, who so movingly and eloquently talked about how UNICEF works to enforce the rights of children with disabilities. And she really helped us understand how if we underestimate their abilities, we really put up huge roadblocks to their access to equal opportunity. And then our third speaker was Sylvia Danilov, who spoke to us about UNICEF's work with emergencies and how this year UNICEF has had to face 4 high-level emergencies, categorized as level 3, which is really the highest level that emergencies can be classified on, happening all simultaneously. And they were in Syria, and the aftermath of Hurricane Typhoon in the Philippines, and the Central Republic of Africa, and in South Sudan. This afternoon, we have the wonderful opportunity to hear from Mariatu Kamara, who will shine a light on children at risk in conflict. Children who are 3 times more likely to miss school, twice as likely to die before the age of 5. Mariatu's story, as depicted in her book, which you all should have received on the table, The Bite of the Mango, begins when she's just 12 years old, when she is in her native Sierra Leone, and the rebels attack her village and cut off her hands. And the book follows what happens to her after the attack. And even though it's a harrowing story, it also proves the incredible resiliency and strength of the human spirit. In reading Ishmael Bay's foreword to the book, I was struck by his description of Mariatu. He said, meeting this remarkable young woman changes people's view of what it means to be a victim of war. Mostly the media focuses on the trauma that people suffer, forgetting to reveal how they recover and how they keep their humanity intact. Marcel's story gives us that necessary human context to understand how you can both be a victim and be a victim and to transform your life. So just as Ishmael was really thankful that the world got to meet Mariatu through the book, I am just as deeply grateful that today we get to meet Mariatu in person. So please join me now in welcoming Mariatu. She slipped out, so she's right here. We had dinner with her last night, and I have to tell you, she's one of the most inspiring people I have ever met in my life. So it's really, I picked up her book by accident a couple of years ago. And I guess it wasn't by any accident, and was so moved that I said, probably to Kristen at the time, we've got to have Mariatu come and speak. And she's working now with UNICEF Canada. So we put in the word, and sometimes it takes a while to get it, but another example of her being able to turn her life around and just with this incredible willingness to give back. Mariatu, you're waiting to do.
Thank you. Sorry. Oh boy. Where did you start? Here. Now I have to start again. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, this little crisis, sometimes you just have to think around. I don't know what to say. I'm sure Barry already told you my story. Did she? No? She didn't steal it today? Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, I just want to thank you all for being here this afternoon, and it's my pleasure to be here. I was waiting for this day for a very long time, and yeah, it's here now, right? Okay, first of all, how many men do we have here? Oh, a few hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. All right, next time bring more, okay? Now you're welcome. Before you were not. Now you're welcome. Well, I just gonna take you through a little bit of my childhood, and so I'm gonna also talk about my involvement with UNICEF and how I get to meet them, and how I become a stockholder. Now I'm stuck. I can't go anywhere. It's my honor to be here and to share with you my story. It's very, a painful and story, but it's fun too, right? And I hope at the end of the day, everybody will have a chance to read the rest of my story in the book, which you already have. Everybody have a copy, thanks to the wonderful ladies that organized this wonderful luncheon, and you get it for free. That's nice. Thank you. And I was born in a very small town. Well, I'll call it a village. Maybe it's a town. Me growing up in Sierra Leone, being born in a very small village, it was like, I don't know, for me it was like a luxury, because the kind of culture that I was born into and start to grow up with I still haven't seen that kind of love and care here in the States or Canada or anywhere else, rather than where I was born. I was born in a big family, but unfortunately I didn't grow up with my biological parents. I grew up with my aunts in a different village, and but it was fun, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, the only thing that I could complain about is that we didn't have electricity, and I know it's embarrassing to say this, but I never wear shoes when I was a child until I was 8 years old, I have to admit. And so now when I go out and wear shoes or buy shoes, people kind of like find it strange. I said, don't find it strange. It's a new hobby that I found myself into. So, not having something in your childhood and, get it when you're older, it's like, it's exciting every day. You just want to get it more and more. But we didn't have that much of luxury. We spent most of our time in the farm. We grow vegetables and fruit and rice and stuff and raise chickens and so on and on. And but it was one particular time which I had so much fun and still have those sweet memories, which was those days that we stop farming, we go to the river to do fishing and spend most of my time with my friends, swimming, roaming around and playing, just don't care about anything. And also at night when the moon is so bright for us to see, and we get to play hide and seek and those games. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun for me. I didn't go to school there because my village didn't have any school, and where the school was so far, so we couldn't even afford to walk, or even, for some people, they said their kids in the big city for like a boarding school and so on and on. But my village, unfortunately, we didn't know what school was, and we didn't care. We don't have no homework, no assignments, no nothing. So it was fun. Even though growing up in Sierra Leone is a lot different than growing up here in America, and because in Sierra Leone, no matter how small you are, you have a part to play in the family. Like for me, we spend most of our time in the farm, and then in the morning we have to get up early, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, go to the river, collect fresh water for the family, and give it in the town, and then go to the farm. But all that was fun. I mean, it's just, for me, it's a hobby, and so it was enjoyable. So as I said, school wasn't part of me, so I didn't care how much important it was. And so this was just a little bit of overview of my childhood. And before my life became this, and when the war started in Sierra Leone, I was very little. I can't remember exactly, maybe I was 4 or 5, and we didn't know much about the war. It started in a very far district of Sierra Leone, and we never thought and wished that it would come to our lives. But they said never say never. So, because you never know what's gonna happen. And there's some times where we started hearing gunshots in the distance, and started hearing stories when the war started getting closer, and how rebels go around, capture girls and boys, and taking them with them, especially the boys, turning them to rebels and give them drugs and all that type of things. And for women, girls particularly, it was weird because they have like different categories of people that they captured. Like they captured a person like me with a little bit brighter skin. They, of course, That's the people that they look for more, the girls, because that's a story I just heard. And that, you know, they use if they want to go and attack a village, they'll use that girl, kill that girl, and use her blood because it's like a good luck to them. So, and whatever, rub it all over themselves and then go. So they will succeed in the whatever journey they're going for. So when my parents heard those stories, when we started now running from our village, going to the bushes, hiding, you know, sometimes my aunt will like, we have something that they make with, make it like a cream, looking like a lotion, but it's dark, just to make your skin darker, so they won't see your, you know, they won't see as a target. And so these stories continue going on and on and on and on, but you know, it just kind of like out of the control now. So sometimes we have to leave our own village, go into different villages or even in the bushes and live there for some days, weeks, or months, becomes months, and so on, so on, so on and on. And so for us, we have started, you know, seeing it as a, you know, hobby. I mean, we're kids, we don't know what was going on. And so until when it finally came into our side, that's when our parents now decided, now, okay, we have to pull out from this area and then go to a safer place. That's when we went to this one village of outside of our village. And so we went there for protection because we heard that some of the soldiers, the government soldiers that were protecting the civilians were there, and so we would be safe there. So we went there, we spent there on nights, 3 nights, and then unfortunately our food we run out of food. And so we had to be sent back to our original village to get food from the storage bin. And so that was the worst mistake my parents ever did. And never mind, you know, the morning before we were leaving to go to the village, I had a dream in the previous nights, and I told my parents that I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to this journey because it just doesn't look good. And the dream that I had, if I go, I mean, if we leave you here and go, we might not see again. But in Sierra Leone, it's very like, you know, they don't really see children as, what should I say, not being a priority, but like they don't see their words as a big deal, like they don't really take it serious. So they thought that, oh, I just want to find an escape way. So I said, okay, fine. If we go and you insist that we have to go, then we might not see again. So as we're leaving the village, me and my cousins and so many other people, you know, I was crying and just thinking about my dream and what's gonna happen. And so by the time we reached to the first village, we started hearing gunshots. And then in our back where we were living. And so the elders that we were with, they were so smart, because I would say they were so dumb. So having the idea of saying that we, the children, we have to go back where the gunshots already took over, and so in case if anything happens, so we'll be able to run with our parents. And so we went back. So not knowing that it was the worst mistake ever. And so we went. So by the time we reached to the village, we came into this open field. We found no one, just the rebels who already attacked the village. But because first, I never really got a close look at a real rebel. This is the first time for me, you know, getting in contact with them one-on-one. And so I didn't really thought it was much serious. But then, as soon as I was captured and my cousin was captured, and then the man beside me was trying to run, and then they captured him and they killed him right in the spot. And so that's when I said, okay, this is serious, this is, they said, okay, we are the rebels, so it's just that this is just a simple introduction to you. And so they took us, me and my cousin, to a open space house, and they had us there. Our hands were tied in our back, and we were asked to sit down on the ground. And my cousins, the boys, they were asked to sit outside in the sun, and they were given all different punishments. And so we were just sitting there, and as time goes on, they have so many questions, but this time there was some questions that I couldn't even understand, because even the local language that we speak in Sierra Leone, which is the Creole, I couldn't even speak it that time. I didn't understand a word of it. And so, they have to bring somebody to translate in my dialect, which is Tini, and then, answer some questions and all that and all that. And so during this time, I witnessed a lot of brutality while the rebels were torturing people, killing kids and everything. But there was just two things that still stand in my memories today, which was the first one when I saw my cousin's husband, which they already have 2 children, and he was brought in front of us, and then he was tied in a tree, like a Jesus crucified him like that, and so he was shot to death million times, I have to say. And so that's when I said, okay, well, what's gonna be next to us? So of course, seeing everybody dying, that time we just think that, okay, you're gonna be the next or the last person. And so, but when they told me first, they said that they're gonna take me with them. So I was happy, because I was kind of like having some ideas in my head how to escape at night. But that plan was shattered. So after killing everybody, more than 200 or 300 people that they captured on that day, and so they finally brought this, pretty much half of my original village people, my uncle's brother's wife was carrying her child in her back, and my 2 best friends were locked in this house. More than 10, 15 people were locked in that house and then set on fire. And those are things that just, sometimes I just wish it was just a dream, which I can wake up from and see something better, something else. But it just never go away. I can still hear their voices. Even now I can still sense their voices, their cry, their words, and their final voices, and so on and on. So those are the things that stood on my memories the most. And at the end of the day, around 6, 7 o'clock at night in the evening, so I was handed over to some boys. So after they killed everybody, I was separated with my cousins. So we thought, of course, we didn't even get time to tell goodbye to each other, so we said it in our hearts, goodbye, so that's it. We're not gonna see each other again. So I thought they were gonna kill them. They probably thought they were gonna die too. And so they said, no, we're not gonna kill you. We want you to be a messenger to the president, which I never even heard of before, or even know how to get to the city, which is Freetown. And go tell the president that we're still in the bushes, and would show him the destruction that we're still capable of doing here in the rural areas. So I said, we're gonna cut off your hands. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a saying or question. So they was handed over to these 4 boys, which was they were not even much older than I was, who were carrying guns and bullets and machetes and those type of weapon that you can think of. They already drugged down, and I'm sure they didn't even know what they were doing. So while the other one was forcing my hand in the rock, the other one was struggling to cut them off, like cutting bits. So after that, I passed out, and when I finally regained consciousness, I found myself in the middle of nowhere, and the whole village was on fire, and my hands was in the other side of the corner, and that was the thing that I realized. First, I didn't realize that my hands were completely gone, and because I tried to pick them up, but I couldn't handle, so I just left them, and then I ran to the bush where I spent the night alone with no medication, no help, no nothing. So I knew that God was directing me to the right path, because in the morning where I found myself, it was surprising, and in the middle of the jungle, I didn't even know where to turn, where to go, but God kind of like just opened a way, like a road, a clear road that I followed this path until I met two dogs that kind of led me through still the same road. They didn't do anything to me, they were just barking on me. And so I ran, and then I finally met this man who now offered me a little bit of help, and also managed to give me food by grabbing a mango, because this was mango season. So he, if I remember correctly, I think it's this month, April. I can't remember the exact dates, but I think it's April 1999. And so when the man saw me first, he tried to run. So I kind of like tried to do my final voice. I said, "Don't run, please, I need help." And so he stopped, and then he helped me halfway, giving me the mango. And then after I took a few bites, even though my hands started to bleed again because the sun was coming in, the place was getting so hot. And so I realized that, my strength was still there, and my will was too strong for me to give up, to just lie there and die. And so I also realized that you can't control life, and you never know what the future has in store for you. So that's why I always tell people, never give up in life, no matter what life brings at you, what life throws at you. If you're still strong, if you still have your 2 foot, your 2 hands, or your 1 eye, or 1 foot, or whatever, 1 hand, use what you have, and stop complaining, because that's what I found when I came into this country, in Canada, the US here, everywhere. It's just people complain about little things that doesn't really matter to me. I'm like, sometimes, why are you complaining? You have everything and you're complaining. Come on. If I complain every day, what do you think will happen to me? But anyway, it's just a life change. So yeah, so don't complain about everything, okay? I just know what it is. And I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to lie there and sit and die. So I managed to walk through the jungle with this man, and then he left me halfway. So I finally wandered into a group of women who now helped me to the hospital in Freetown. When I get there, I spent there a month and a half receiving treatment. And that's where I also were able to reunite with my friends, my cousins, my 3 cousins, and their hands were cut off also. It was surprising. I didn't know how that happened, but yeah. So we all were united in the hospital, and then we received treatment, and we moved to an RBT camp in a suburb of Freetown, Aberdeen. And during this time where I lived for almost three years. And life there was terrible. It was very, very terrible. I mean, there's so many times we have to go to the city to beg for our survival. And I mean, there's some supplies coming in. I mean, sometimes like at the end of the month, they'll bring like, some beans, oil, and rice and stuff like that. But it always goes, of course, as we learn here, hierarchy, whatever thing. So it always goes first there, and then when it comes to the lower level, of course, you're not gonna get enough for your family, So you have to find a way to survive more. And so we have spent most of our time in the town begging every single day. And that's when also I joined this theater group in the camp, which helped me to heal and to look forward with with hope. And it was a lot of help for me. I mean, it helped me. We performed stories about the war, how we wanted to forgive or not to forget what happened to us. Because you can't forget, because you have the picture right in front of you. And so, well, we just wanted to let the rebels themselves or the public know that we were stronger than what happened. And we're still surviving. And we're going to keep on surviving. And so it was a lot of fun for me. But also my family were a big part of my healing process in the camp. Because I remember there was time when my things were so tough for me. I used to cry, become so isolated to myself, and just thought of killing myself because of the thought of going through life without my hands. But my family came in, the rest of my family, to remind me every single day that I still have my life, and I should thank God and for every day that I live, and just to have more courage to face my future with hope. And as it turns out, for me, I got this opportunity in 2002 to come to Canada. It was exciting because when we were in the camp, everybody just want to get out and go to a better country. And so for me, I didn't know what Canada was, what kind of weather it was. It doesn't matter where I was going. So I just want to go. And so, so it worked out for me, and I came in 2002, August. Well, August was it's summertime. So I was happy. I said, oh, fantastic. I came to a wonderful weather. Why didn't I? But then it was a shock to me because, it's just a huge city that I'd never seen before, tall, huge buildings and a lot of roads, cars, lights everywhere, people so fast forward and like, slow down, so fast, but it took me a lot of time for me to get used to a lot of things. I mean, the fact that, I couldn't speak English, I couldn't read and write because, I didn't go to school in Syria, and I didn't have any idea where to start, even ABCs. So I started school, embarrassing to say, the age of 16. That's when I started from scratch, from ABCs, and then I went to, ESL classes. I started. But, I always said in life, you have to have a goal, and you have to be ready to chase after it, and have plans. Be determined, whatever you put your hand into, and, just don't look back, never give up, just keep on working. So that's what helped me a lot, I finished ESL 4 months later, and so the people thought that I was ready for high school. I said, okay, you must be crazy. Sending a 17-year-old to high school for the first time, not even know how to spell her name properly yet. So, okay, I'm ready for challenges. So I started high school January 2004. Was it? Yes, I think so. Yes. I remember that date. So it was a hell for me starting high school. I mean, high school in this country is it's not fun. Sometimes it's so intimidating and tough and challenging and everything. So I was determined to learn because I just wanted to learn and know how important education was and to learn the English. And so I went there and within 4 years time, I graduated with an honor. And it was good. So after that, it was difficult. Everything was tough. But then with my willingness and determination and the family I came across with, things started to become better slowly every single day, and just keep on working and working, learning the English and everything. And so after my high school, I sat down for a little bit, and then I decided to go to college. I've been in college for quite a few times now, but because during this time, that's when my friend and I, Susan McLellan, which is my co-author in the book, decided that we should do this project of writing this book. It was a tough decision for me to make because I didn't think my English was stronger yet, to go into big projects. But she was confident in me, and I had already gained trust in her. So I said, okay. So it took us a year. It was a long process, I have to say. Well, it's what I mean by long process. It took a lot of strength and courage again to go back and be able to recount all the stuff that happened even when I was young and stuff. And so, but it was fun. It was, at the end, it was really fun and rewarding. So I started college at George Brown College for counseling, and which hopefully I'll be a counselor someday. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. And it's just, those are the things that we did. And me and Susan, she was a UNICEF either volunteer or working for UNICEF. I can't remember, that's very correct. But then she connected me with UNICEF. She said, oh, you'll be a good person with UNICEF. I said, do you think? She said, yeah. So I said, okay. So we get connected, and they took me back to Sierra Leone for the first time in 2008. And, I just want to remind people that, the conflict like the one that happens in Sierra Leone were very difficult and very sad. Because I always said, wherever there's a war, children and women always suffer the most, believe it or not. And the war in Sierra Leone resulted in many, many different ways. It's resulted in children being recruited as child soldiers, killing people, destroying homes, children being raped, tortured, and killed. And that's where I always said, it's during the conflict like that where we always need, in fact, the United Nations to step in and protect the children. But thank God now we have UNICEF, but not just UNICEF alone. We need all of you, and in fact, the whole world, to protect children no matter what happened. As I mentioned earlier, in February 2018, when UNICEF took me back to Sierra Leone, it was exciting for me to go back after 6 years later, and but I was thrilled to be able to go and witness the wonderful, amazing work that UNICEF is doing in Sierra Leone. And I'll prove that to you. If you have any question or any doubts, joining UNICEF or whatever, doing anything with UNICEF, don't have that doubt, because I'm a living witness to UNICEF. In my country as well, because I remember traveling with UNICEF I was able to see, as I said, myself, the amazing work that they're doing there in Sierra Leone for the children and the women as well. I visited, I'm just going to read you some of the wonderful things that they're doing, which I can't remember all of them, and I have to read them to you so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I visited a nutrition center where children being treated for malnutrition, and one particular people that I met with, which is the community leaders, who told us how UNICEF has been helping them, and then building new water pumps, building schools, training teachers, and supplying pencils, books, and all type of things that you can think of that comes with school materials. And so they said, well, thanks to UNICEF, their children now are able to go to school for the first time with no cost. So I also learned that about the UNICEF support program for the youth living on the streets. So this program, one of the programs that stood to me the most, they provide shelters, helps reunite children and youth with their families, and ensure those young people receiving education and skill trainings. Several girls there even told me their stories. And for one particular one, for instance, Fatimata, she was 14 years old when we met, and she shared her story with me. She said, I am 14 years old, and I had lost both of my parents. For years, I have been living on the streets and working as a commercial sex worker. Imagine, a 14-year-old child. So when I met her, she said, I had been living at the shelter for 5 months now when UNICEF picked her up from the streets, where she was receiving support, food, HIV prevention, education, because that's a big thing too in Sierra Leone, and they do all those education programs with them. So those are just some of the things that UNICEF does around the world, and I'll continue to